generally speaking, I like to see 20% across the buckets that I just said from the client.
Strictly for retirement, like 20% strictly for retirement, and then it would be over and above that for other short and medium term goals or education funding.
No, generally.
You mean 20% all in to all of these various places, and
within that, we'll bucket some towards 529s, towards other objectives that they have.
And what does the long term mean then? There is that really earmarked for retirement, or is that meant to be, well, listen, we're going to put it aside without a specific goal, but we do have these ideas of maybe buying a vacation home in 5 years or so, or something along those lines, and that it could be used for that purpose.
Or education, right? I don't save all of education funds in a 529 plan. I think that's a bad idea, personally. I don't know how the education landscape is going to change. If it does, you would hope that they would change the rules around 529 plans to accommodate people who have over contributed. But let's say that they don't, right? I'd rather save 50 to 70% of the future education cost and cover it through that long-term bucket that doesn't have that's just liquidity, right? It doesn't have a predefined goal. It has flexibility. It can be used for a second home purchase or down payment. It can be used to float education expenses if that's the objective. But I think there's a huge emphasis on liquidity, right? Liquidity can create income. You can tap that money for things, and I think that's really important, especially if people want to retire before a time that they can actually tap their retirement accounts. I mean, how often does that come up where someone's like, I want to retire at 55, but I'm saving all of my savings in these accounts that don't let me take distributions until 59 and a half.
Or at least if it's not retire, at least like stop working this job.
Financial independence.
At 55 and start doing something different. I think if you asked me, I don't know that I would have said 20%.
What would you have said?
Like I think 20%, like that's like, yeah, if you're doing that, that's fantastic and you should feel great. And you're going to be on a great path. But if someone's between 10 and 20%, I think they should be feeling decent about what they're doing in relation to, like, as a starting baseline in relation to the broader scheme of things. And that becomes our job to help them work on that, and work to kind of improve that going forward and to find these ways to increase that number. And like I said, if your career, you have these career progressions that aren't linear and you get a big jump in your income, making sure that you're not taking all of that and having it be lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
But instead,
I think that,
being able to add much more meaningful chunks of money during those stages of your life, right? And then maybe it dips down again if you have kids that are going to college and you're having to pay for that or something along those lines. But you're going to have these times in life where you get these meaningful career bumps and income bumps with it, that you don't want it to just be a linear increase in savings, but that you want to be taking meaningful percentages of that and putting it away. So if you're at a baseline where you're saving 10 to 15% of your money every year, and then you have one of these events and that allows you to save a big chunk or something along those lines, like that's another way to get there. It doesn't have to be that's why I don't like anchoring to this. It has to be this every single year type of thing.
It's a good point. We see like really two types of people that have super high, like boiled down level when they generate wealth or when they've accumulated wealth. It's the people who have been saving and doing it through cash flow through their whole life. And a lot of times those people have much bigger 401ks, IRAs, tax deferred accounts, because that's the vehicle they've predominantly been saving in. Yeah. And then it's the people who are the absolute opposite. They have not been saving anything in their 401ks or in their IRAs because they've been building a business or doing something where they're gonna have an event and they're gonna release value. And a lot of times with those clients, you see that they have a massive taxable asset base.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they get equity compensation in their company stock and they just hold on to that stock.
Yeah,
It
no,
does
absolutely.
well, but they're concentrated, but it's all, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, there's different ways to accumulate wealth. I'd say I'd caveat my prior answer to say for the people who are expecting to do it through cash flow, right? That would be the appropriate, that would be more of the framework I would be thinking about for the people who are doing it through cash flow. But we certainly have a lot of folks who are not hitting those metrics, but they are building something and they are anticipating an exit. And there's risk with that, of course, but those are usually the people who are more comfortable with risk because they're running a business or they're doing something that's inherently more risky.
I mean, I've been through that. I go through it, you know.
I'm talking about it and I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, it's like the growth of our business and things for me has been, you know, continuous choices of, you know, taking it out and saving it or reinvesting it into the business. And, you know, you make these choices on an ongoing basis. And to me, it hasn't been a hard choice. It's reinvesting it into the business has meant that we can do more for our clients. And it means that, you know, I can have brilliant people like you around to be working with our clients. And, you know, if we hadn't chosen to go down that path, like, I think I would be at a different quote unquote cash flow savings rate than I am. But we've deliberately chosen to take like the growth of that stuff and reinvest it into the business. And, you know, I know that even, you know, forget about from a financial standpoint, I know that just from a happiness standpoint, and from the service that we're able to deliver to clients, that's been a great decision. Hopefully someday it becomes a great financial decision too.